this one's going to be a big one because I actually did my own research on this as well. So, the Taskmaster asked, do you have any information on Ric Flair's phantom NWA championship switches with Jack Veneno in the Dominican Republic or Carlos Colon in San Juan around 82-83?
Just scuttlebutt. I do recall that when Flair went to Dominican Republic, and they had a pretty good size arena there. And the people, Veneno was the Carlos Colon of Dominican Republic. He was the resident babyface. Now, the story Flair tells is that I forgot how this match was going to end, but I think the people were so anti-Ric Flair, which is easy to be, and I've heard some of the stories over there, those people were violent. So I think it, and I can't say this is true, it's not true, but it is believable to the point to where Flair just says, screw this. If I do this finish they want me to do, they're going to kill me, which is a good thought to have. Mm-hmm. When you see people with blood in their eyes saying, I might want to go get on that plane tomorrow or whenever. And if I do this, I don't think I'd be able to do this. He said he changed the finish and he just told the referee, or he told Veneno to tell the referee, because they speak Spanish there, just count me down. So now the people are happy. Nobody's wanting to kill Flair. So as soon as the match is over, he hits the ankle express with the security and goes back to the dressing room. That's what I heard. And then I think when and I have no idea of what Rick said to the St. Louis office who booked him. It's not like, how was the match tonight, Rick, with Veneno and Dominican Republic? Oh, yeah, I had to put him over. What? You put him over? He said, yeah, he walked out with the belt. Of course, the next thing they want to know is, did anybody get pictures? Did they have video? Of course they did. But they played it back, and it was really a screwed up version of the count. It was and it looked almost the same count, 2, and almost the same count again, but it was redubbed 3 times, so it looked like it looked clunky anyway. But I think what happened is that he came to Puerto Rico, I think a month later, and then they put the belt back on Flair. So at least Veneno had something to show his fans that he's no longer the champion.
They actually amazingly didn't. Supposedly, just the last bit is that what had happened was in the first one is that I think the time limit had expired and Rick was about to go out with the sleeper. So it was actually a draw. And then I think Rick just left the belt with Jack and just went, look, just hold it, pretend that you're the champion. Mm-hmm. And then you can announce it on TV later. The second time is what you exactly described with the pin. And then Ric Flair's pinned again. And this time, I suppose technically it's a clean pin, so Jack Veneno should have been the champion. And Rick just left again. And then the way they explained it on Dominican Republic and Republic TV as why Jack wouldn't remain the champion is because he explained something to the effect of, oh, well, I don't want to leave the island. If I was NWA World Champion, I'd have to go here, there, and everywhere, and I could never leave my beautiful home of Dominican Republic. And so basically he relinquished the belt that he never should have had in the first place. Mm-hmm. And then NWA side, nothing was ever mentioned.
Yeah, this was like 40 years ago anyway. Mm-hmm. They may have bought that because I don't know how old the Dominican Republic territory was, but I think it was fairly new. They had just started one there because I think Puerto Rico started like 75, 76. Dominican Republic started probably, on a larger scale. They probably always had little independent shows, but I think they started about the same time, maybe a little later. But when I was there, they wanted me to go, and I refused to go. I'd heard so many really scary stories that I said, no, just I don't want to go. And they never pressed me to go. And the reason they didn't press me to go was because we were drawing so much money in Puerto Rico. They didn't want me going over there and maybe getting hurt. I didn't want to get hurt myself, but it would affect their bottom line. So I never made Dominican Republic, nor did I ever want to.
Rick claimed that he was paid I think this was for the second match because he brought Roddy Piper with him as a backup. He was paid what he claimed was $5,000 for the match, and he spent half of it in the bar that night. And Roddy Piper got paid $500 and a spittoon full of cocaine.
Who said that?
Flair.
The $5,000, I'm probably not disbelieving. That seems to be a high payoff, especially for that time. Because $5,000 then was $20,000 or $25,000 today. And he said he went to the bar and he did what now?
Spent half of it that night.
Well, he could have, I guess. I don't know. But, and what did he say? Roddy Piper did it all in cocaine?
No, he got $500 and a spittoon full of cocaine.
That was a lot of cocaine because cocaine that was one of their drop-off points, was Dominican Republic, to get into the States. And that may have been true.
Now, the other one...
But who knows what Ric Flair says is true or not. So take it with a grain of salt like I did.
Now, the other one is the Carlos Colon title change. And now, this is even murkier because I don't think it was ever recorded. I don't think there's any photos. But the match where Carlos supposedly won the belt was meant to be a title, Ric Flair's NWA World title versus the local title that Carlos had with WWC. And apparently, Carlos may have won clean, prearranged. It wasn't the same situation where, it was a switch at the end of the match to stop a crowd riot or anything like that. Why, if that is true, it went down like that, why would Rick agree to lose the belt to Carlos and maybe not with the NWA board's approval?
Please. Hey. Gotta look at me.
Mm-hmm.
They could have made, and this is what I think happened, they could have made a side deal with Rick and said, we'll give you $5,000 to kind of drop it, but it really won't be official. But we'll just show the people so we can show back on our TV that Carlos won the title. I need to check on that. I'm sure that Carlos still has a couple of sons involved in the wrestling business. And I would call Carlos, but I think he has some issues now with Parkinson's, I heard. But he'd probably tell me. But I've heard that story. So, see, a lot of things happen in wrestling behind the closed doors that nobody ever hears about, unless you talk about one of the main participants. And I've never heard Rick taking that money, but if he can make a side deal on and it doesn't affect anybody, and the office in St. Louis doesn't find out about it, of course they did, but again, that's one of those mysteries that you'll never know the truth.
I would love for you to get in touch with Carlos and ask him if you could. That would be unbelievable, because I'd love to know that mystery as well. So just one more thing. And then
so are you requesting for me to seek a private audience with Carlos?
Or was it that formal?
Could be. No, but I'll call Eddie. See what he says.
Yeah, I'd love to know that. Also, supposedly is
and he could be. He might be one of our guests.
Eddie Colon.
Yeah, he'd like to do it.
Yeah, that should be. I was going to say something then, but I'll keep it in my head. Apparently, a couple of weeks later, supposedly a rematch may have happened between Flair and Carlos Colon in Miami, although little is known about this match or even if it took place as well. So, but that's a good mystery that we may be able to get to the bottom of.